Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So, we'll be talking again today about a potential blizzard across Montana and portions of the north central United States, and as well as just the large impacts from the general winter storm. Not necessarily a blizzard, but a lot of snow and rain occurring across the general west, and a potential parade of storms into this upcoming week and next weekend. Just a very active pattern, so we'll get all into this. Before we do, if you guys at any point in this video like what you're seeing, consider subscribing or consider checking out my other videos. And if you continue to like what you're seeing, you could consider subscribing. If you are a returning viewer, liking the video would be fantastic. Okay, let's get into this. So right now we are looking at the European model. Actually, before we look at that, I want to first look at the National Weather Service Weather Ready Nation map. And if we were to look at this, you could see that we do have a lot of warnings, a lot of watches, and we have red flag warnings right here. So just because you're not getting impacted directly by this precip from the storm, this is because of the high winds, which is actually a combination of a high pressure off to the east and a low pressure here, steering very strong winds, kicking up to fire danger. Notice we do have winter storm warnings right here, winter storm warnings as well, winter storm watches, some winter weather advisories. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of places seeing rain, snow. And then notice a couple days ago, or I've been saying, kind of advocating for this blizzard, and I'm glad that what I said came true, because it oftentimes does or doesn't, and it's really kind of a gamble. But you can see that they do have blizzard warnings, and I think that's obviously very reasonable, as the winds will be very strong and the snow will be falling, so the visibility will be reduced. And really, that's all the qualifications. There are specific qualifications: 35 miles per hour or greater, reduced visibility for 3 hours under a third of a mile, and either blowing snow from the ground or falling snow, which we do have. But again, I just want to quickly look at the overall. I don't know if they have the overall snowfall totals here, but there will be quite a bit of snowy weather on the way. But notice, again, a lot of the northwest, the southwest as well, northern portions of Arizona, southern Nevada seeing winter storm watches being issued. This year, Nevada seeing winter storm warnings. Just north of Los Angeles, we do have some higher elevations seeing, like Big Bear Lake, seeing a winter storm warning in effect as of now. The snowfall totals don't look to be ridiculous, but again, 6 to 12, 12 to 18 inches as you get higher, which for those out in the east may think, oh, those are huge amounts, and they are for sure, just in the general from a 0 to 24-inch scale. But the mountains sometimes with a really intense storm could see 3 to 4 feet. And notice that as we push into southern Colorado, quite a bit of snow, and really it's centered especially across that winter storm warning area. And look at that, some of those locations, that's 35-40 inches of snow predicted for those locations. So that is a very, very, very intense snowfall. Let's go through this and see and time this out, what may occur, right? So notice that as we push this into the future, we see a weak low pressure as of now across the west, and this doesn't look like much of a storm. However, the thing is with this, that using the mountains and the proper wind direction to its advantage, this thing could maximize snowfall amounts across the higher elevations. And you can see, while this system is pretty disorganized, it's hauling right there. That snow is falling very fast across much of mid-morning Saturday and into tonight across portions of the Sierra Nevada. This, though, does obviously intensify, and it becomes more widespread. Notice that this is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon Saturday. We start seeing a widespread band of snow moving from Alberta into Saskatchewan, across northern Montana possibly, and into Idaho, though at this point it's a lot of rain-snow mix across the U.S., more snow towards Canada. And notice we do still have precipitation across the west. And as we push this forward, now this is 7 o'clock in the evening, and this is really Saturday evening into Sunday overnight is when this storm blows up. You can see a lot more precipitation is present. Very heavy snow going on across Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. Again, the rain is limited, but the snow just goes free for all. And this is now 2 o'clock in the morning Sunday. You can see this system pushes out onto the lower elevation areas, like eastern Montana and northeastern Wyoming. So this thing has a chance to intensify, and atmospheric conditions really do provide it some pretty nice conditions for a blizzard, and also obviously very heavy snow. Notice we do see a lot of snow occurring still across that southwestern portion of Colorado. Anywhere else, the snow seems to fall at much lighter amounts. And of course, look at that, just the tight millibars right there, isobars. That will lead to, obviously, blizzard conditions, which is why they issued that blizzard warning across portions of northern central Montana. And again, this is now at 7 o'clock morning Sunday. This is 2 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Also, notice these extreme winds across the plains. Some of these locations will be just getting absolutely hammered by very strong winds. And while this storm probably won't bring much across these areas, at least this first part of the storm won't bring much to these areas, even in the form of rain, the winds will be a huge factor. And now notice that the area of highest winds will be right from really Iowa, Kansas, really eastern Kansas into South Dakota, Colorado, right by the mountains. And that's because of this high pressure. Look at that. That is a very strong and extremely large high pressure. The high pressure's winds, they always spin this way, clockwise. Need to look at a clock in order to figure out that. I always forget for some reason, and it just confuses me. Or at least it used to, now it's a bit better. Okay, so, and then low pressures spin counterclockwise. So what this does is, it basically creates a strong avenue of winds. These isobars back, and these winds are just sent across these locations. And that's why there are red flag warnings across much of these locations into South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota. Red flag warnings meaning high fire danger if it's dry, which it has been, if it's warm, which it will be, and if it's windy. It's a perfect recipe for a fire. Notice this thing doesn't have a lot of rain. It doesn't develop a strong cold front. It has a ton of snow to it, right? Very strong winds. This thing will be absolutely dumping buckets of snow. Buckets, more like loads of snow. Yeah, loads of snow. Snow shovelfuls of snow across Montana, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, extreme southwestern British Columbia, Alberta, I meant to say here, but since I said British Columbia, I might as well include it. But again, most of this system will form a bit further to the east from British Columbia. And notice that some ice and rain, freezing rain does start mixing in. This is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon Sunday. This is 7 o'clock afternoon Sunday. And you can see this thing is weakening, the 991 millibars of pressure. Still some snow going across Nevada, Arizona, Utah. Very heavy snow right there across portions of southern Saskatchewan and northern Montana. And we also see a lot of freezing rain and ice going on across Manitoba, pushing into Manitoba and Ontario. Thankfully, it's not long duration, and this ice transitions either to rain or snow pretty quickly, and that storm kind of gets winded apart. But the snowfall amounts from that system at around hour 78, which is where we are right now. So you can see Monday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, mainly the heavy snow is done, but still obviously a bit occurring across Colorado. Some rain showers finally spreading into portions of the plains. And we do have a tropical storm, maybe a hurricane. Eta, I think. It starts with an E, I just don't really know the name exactly. Pushing into portions of the Gulf Coast. Exact track is yet to be determined, obviously. And let's take a look at the snowfall, which I wanted to show you, but I got caught off track like always. Notice where the snow does fall, it falls very heavily. And portions of southern Canada, 15, 16, 17, 18 inches. 1.5 feet seems widespread across these locations. But even as you push towards the capital area of Montana, up to 1 foot of snow is not out of the question. I would say as of now, 9 to 12 inches of snow is possible. The mountains, I think, are a bit underdone. I think there will be a bit more snow. But again, it's hard to predict the mountain snow with a long to medium range model. But again, still plentiful amounts of snow from this one storm system. And let's go back to the surface and precip, and I just want to show you what could happen, what this storm could do next in the future. So if we push this to hour 84, this is now Monday, 7 o'clock in the evening. We see more rain developing from that cold front, from that original storm that is now way far out to the east. So this thing kind of still attached to it, but it's almost separated at the same time. And what this does is it starts taking a low pressure, and we start seeing some cyclone development, and that frontogenesis, if you will. And that is basically the formation of a low pressure. And notice this thing will be spreading some pretty heavy snow or rain across the Midwest. and some snow could move into the northwest as well. And for those people watching across the east and southeast, you may be wondering, where's my snow? Again, we are right now in a historic warm November pattern. And since we are seeing such absurdly warm temperatures across much of the eastern and really anywhere across the United States, maybe just these locations seeing cooler weather. But since it's so warm, the snow obviously has a hard time to fall. It's mainly rain, and where the snow does fall, it falls heavily because of the warm air carrying more moisture. So if it does cool off, and the first couple of storms from this warm air mass will be very, very powerful and strong and capable of delivering lots of snow, even for a winter storm. Higher than just a winter storm. So there's definitely pluses and minuses, but again, this is still November. It's November 10th as of this 90-hour outlook, and there's still a lot of uncertainty as for the winter. I think that it will be on a snowier and colder side, and again, people always say, oh, if November's cold, winter's warm. If November's warm, winter's warm. There's no correlation really, almost at all. And there could be some trends and patterns, but really it's not as significant as we'd like to think. That would make the job so much easier, but unfortunately that's not true. And I was looking back at my videos from a couple of years and seeing, from years where there was a warm November at around this time frame, what happened. And sometimes it got really cold, sometimes it was a really warm winter. And so at this point still, a lot of uncertainty. Notice that we do see a storm develop, some snow, and this starts taking a tilt. We start seeing a cold front, a warm front develop, and this basically forms a band of snow. Again, how strong that will be, still yet to be determined, but where the snow does fall, it's most likely going to fall heavily. You can see a lot of precipitation is available from systems like these. So, again, where the snow falls, it will be falling very heavily. And then we start seeing, again, like a parade of little storms, big storms. Each model is different, but as of now, if we were to look at the total snowfall so many days out, you could see that there is quite a big potential for, obviously, the west and northwest. You're seeing ridiculous amounts of snow, which I forecasted. I was most confident in that area this year. I was like thinking to myself, if I'm going to be wrong about the northwest, because I'm so confident about it, then I won't be able to predict anything. And it seems to be coming together, at least for now, that you can see Idaho, Montana, Washington, Oregon just seeing buckets and buckets of snow, or shovelfuls of snow falling. So some of those higher elevations seeing, plus 60, 70 inches. The eastern U.S., be patient. You will get your time. It's just going to take a while, as obviously winter still hasn't begun meteorologically or astronomically. So way too early for that. Well, not way too early. There's been years where November's been snowy, but this year isn't really one of those. At least the first half of November. Let's take a look at some other models. And again, each model is basically showing the same with this first storm. They just start diverging on the rest of the smaller systems in the future. So notice again, this is the GFS. This is 7 o'clock tonight. All right, so pretty much right now. This is now Saturday at around 2 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock in the afternoon. You can see again around that Saturday evening time frame, we start seeing quite a bit of snow develop. And by the way, when I say my timing, 7 o'clock, 2 o'clock, if you live across the west and the coastal areas, you could take back 1 or 2 hours, because if it's 7 o'clock in Illinois, it's going to be 5 o'clock in California. Generally, though, 2 hours is still a relatively good time frame. And you could just adjust that. And for the east, it's going to be 1 hour ahead. But again, for exact details, always go to the National Weather Service. But you can see this is now 2 o'clock and 2 o'clock Sunday morning at midnight, wee morning hours, and lots of snow. The intensity really picks up, and this is where that blizzard just starts absolutely cranking up. Strong winds, not only across the snowy areas and where the precip is falling, but also across the plains where it's warm, dry, and obviously windy, so fire danger will be high. And in this thing, you can see a lot of ice, really minimal rain for a storm of this size. It's surprising, but it's because it's developed so deep into the mountains. If this were to develop, maybe across the Grand Forks area, the North Dakota-Minnesota border, then this could have had more precipitation in terms of rain. But because this formed so far into the mountains, obviously it's limited. Precipitation and moisture has a hard time getting its way through the mountains and usually gets torn apart unless certain conditions comply. Notice this GFS keeps this storm also down here in the tropics pretty strong. Again, I don't talk about the tropics at this point on this channel. because of how dangerous they could be, how unpredictable, and I don't want to take any misinformation or put any misinformation out there. So leave that up to the National Hurricane Center. 6 hour, again, this is now at Monday, 2 o'clock in the morning, so all of Sunday is slamming hard snow falling across Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and still across the Southwest, we still see this piece of energy right here, which translates to that second system with the remaining strength of this first storm. And notice that this thing really quickly pulls away and weakens, leaves behind a bit of a cold front, which gives way to a second storm. Again, the GFS forms it differently than the European. It's stronger and wider in terms of the precip, the rainy side, but the snow is limited, and it's more of a rainy storm because of the moisture from this tropical storm, hurricane, and these two things combine and could form a pretty strong system. We'll see. And then it again still includes quite a bit of chances for some clipper storms and increased activity. Let's take a look at the, before we do that, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Total positive snow depth change again. This is 384 hours, so tons of snow for the west in the long range. That seems most confident. Even not even for the, not just for the northwest, portions of the south central United States, the central, I would say central west, Utah, Nevada, Colorado, definitely seeing a lot. But even southern Colorado, look at that, just absurd amounts of snow. And, if this were to continue throughout the whole winter, that would be great in terms of the drought. But, it's hard to believe that every 10 days there would be 60 inches of new snow. And this is, by the way, through like that first storm, and you can see the GFS paints some 2 feet plus amounts across Montana and Canada, so definitely good for those locations. They are a bit drier. GFS parallel, I'll just show you the total snowfall, as it really just shows the same stuff with this storm, so there's a lot of confidence, which is good. A bit lighter amounts, but a bit more widespread, if you will, across Idaho and into Wyoming. Again, it does keep that second storm similar to what the European shows. And if we were to look at the Canadian model, very much similar thing. Again, it seems a bit more faded out because the Canadian is a bit less accurate, less detailed, but quite a bit of snow across the west. I would like to quickly show you, if I know this video is getting very long, but maybe a high resolution model like the HER model. This one I don't think gets really the storm yet. It's a bit too far out, but it definitely shows more detailed amounts, and some of those locations across southern Colorado could be already seeing a foot of snow by the time it's early Sunday morning. And in terms of some other high resolution models, you could go on Tropical Tidbits and look this for yourself, and the reason I'm not going to is because this video is getting absurdly long. But again, when we do have a large storm like this, I like to go over as much as possible. Notice that, look at that, that thing is, the high resolution models take this very clearly. Lots of snow. These things, this is almost like a thunderstorm band slamming right into the mountains. And again, that's when that storm just absolutely erupts. Tons of snow. This may be a bit underrepresented by the high resolution models, but a lot of snow, a lot of precipitation, and of course that tropical storm. The NAM shows pretty strong at that point, and look at that. Pretty nice amounts of snowfall. The NAM 12 km, another high resolution. You could see quite some significant amounts as well. This one goes out a bit further. But again, this model, I'm showing you a bunch right now very quickly because these models are a bit sometimes less accurate, but I still want to show you them without making the video too long. And again, obviously go to the National Weather Service for the most and best advice. Let's go to a random location in this blizzard warning area, and let's just see. You could see 2 to 4 inches, 4 to 8, 1 to 3. So maybe not absurd amounts of snow everywhere, right? But the winds and the temperatures, pretty low temperatures, will make things worse. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.